It was a cold January evening in Boston. The air inside the TD Garden was electric, charged with the hopes and dreams of an entire city. The Boston Celtics, once a powerhouse, were struggling through the season, their performance more lackluster than a day-old cup of coffee. Each loss piled on the pressure, each misstep sending a chill down the spines of the devoted fans. The weight of expectation hung heavy, threatening to crush the team under its relentless grip. Amidst this bleak landscape, a whisper began to circulate around the aging veterans in the locker room. A rumor of a new energy, a raw talent waiting in the wings. The Celtics front office, desperate for a spark, had recalled a young player from the G League, a rookie named Jaylen Parker, a kid who was just 19. But Jaylen wasn't your typical hyped rookie. Sure, he'd been turning heads during his time in college. They called him the quiet genius on the court. His game was a thing of beauty, precise, calculated, almost mesmerizing in its efficiency. Yet he wasn't loud, not the trash-talking, showboating type. He didn't have a flashy rap song blasting from his car or signature dance moves that could break the internet. In a league where young stars were often manufactured overnight into global icons, Jaylen was different. He was just a quiet kid from a small town, dreaming big, hoping to make a difference. When he stepped into the Celtics locker room for the first time, the other players barely spared him a glance. Their focus was on the upcoming game, their minds burdened with the team's recent performance. Coach Thompson, a grizzled veteran with a face etched with years of hard-fought battles, didn't offer much in the way of welcome either. There was no pat on the back, no words of encouragement, no attempt to ease the pressure that was surely weighing on the kid's shoulders. Instead, he handed Jaylen a playbook and pointed towards the bench. "Get comfortable. You're here to learn," he said gruffly, leaving no room for misinterpretation. "Don't expect to play." Jaylen's spirits sank a little. It was clear what the coach meant. He was just there to observe, to soak up the atmosphere, to understand the game at a higher level. The reality was harsh, but Jaylen wasn't the type to complain. He had worked too hard, sacrificed too much to let a setback get the better of him. So he sat on the bench, watched, learned, and trained, absorbing everything like a sponge. He paid attention to the cadence of the game, the rhythm of the team, the subtle cues that made all the difference. Every day he put in extra work, refining his skills, proving to the coaching staff that when given the chance, he would deliver. Weeks turned into months, and still Jaylen waited patiently for his moment. The Celtics continued to struggle, each loss echoing with the jeers of the disappointed fans. The pressure on the coaching staff was immense, the calls for change growing louder with each game. The team's performance had become a roller coaster of near misses and agonizing defeats. Star players began to blame each other. Tempers flared, frustration mounted, and the team started to unravel at the seams. Then one fateful evening, everything changed. The Celtics were locked in a high-stakes playoff game against their arch-rivals, the Miami Heat. The score was neck and neck, the tension so thick it felt like the net was about to snap under its weight. The third quarter ended with the Heat pulling ahead by 12 points. It was a tough pill to swallow, but the Celtics had faced adversity before. They had clawed their way back from the brink of defeat before. This wasn't the first rodeo. As the fourth quarter began, Coach Thompson knew he had to do something drastic. His team was sluggish. Their usual strategies just weren't working, and the Heat seemed to be a step ahead at every turn. The players on the bench were slumping in their seats, their faces etched with fatigue and disappointment. Two of their star players had already fouled out, their absence leaving a gaping hole in the team's performance. Suddenly, an idea struck him like a bolt from the blue. What about the rookie? All season long, Jaylen had been a beacon of calm amidst the storm, a steady presence on the bench, never letting the chaos get to him. Could he be the spark the team needed? He turned to his assistant coach, a younger man with a keen eye for talent. "How about we throw him in? Let's see what he can do." The assistant coach, taken aback by the suggestion, hesitated for a moment, but he trusted his boss's instincts. "All right, I'll go get him," he said, heading towards the bench where Jaylen sat quietly, observing the game with his usual intensity. The roar of the crowd was deafening, each cheer and jeer echoing with the weight of the city's expectations. As Jaylen made his way onto the court, the fans turned their attention to the rookie. They had seen enough of the same old, same old. Maybe it was time for something fresh, someone to shake things up. Stepping onto the court, Jaylen felt a surge of adrenaline, but it wasn't the kind that makes you shaky and nervous. It was the kind that fuels focus and determination. This was his moment, the opportunity he had been waiting for, training for, dreaming about. He was here to prove himself, not just to the fans, to the coaches, and most importantly, to himself. In his first few minutes on the court, Jaylen wasted no time in making an impact. His movements were precise, economical, his passes sharp and accurate. The first play was a thing of beauty. He stole the ball cleanly, raced down the court, and laid it in with a finesse that belied his age. The crowd erupted. Was this the answer to their prayers? Had they found their missing piece? As the game progressed, Jaylen continued to impress. He dished out a no-look assist, drawing gasps from the crowd as they witnessed a play that seemed straight out of a basketball highlight reel. Then came the three-pointer. Jaylen found himself at the corner, the ball in his hands, the shot clock winding down. He took a deep breath, lined up his target, and released. The ball arced through the air, nothing but net. The crowd went wild. Jaylen had turned the momentum of the game, and all in just 6 minutes. The rest of the team seemed to feed off Jaylen's energy. Their movements became sharper, their passes crisper. Hope, which had been dwindling like the last drops of water in a desert oasis, began to rekindle. The Celtics rallied, clawing their way back into the game. The deficit was erased. The lead changed hands several times, and as the clock ticked down, the tension ratcheted up, threatening to break the very rafters of the arena. With just 10 seconds left on the clock and the score tied, Coach Thompson turned to Jaylen, his eyes searching the kid's face. He wanted to see if the rookie was up for the challenge. "This is on you, son," he said, his voice low but firm, leaving no doubt in Jaylen's mind. He wanted Jaylen to take the final shot. Jaylen, his heart pounding in his chest but his face betraying no emotion, simply nodded. "Yes, sir." Taking the ball, he drove towards the basket, faking a pass to his right, then spinning past his defender. With two opponents bearing down on him, he rose for the shot. Time seemed to slow down. The crowd held its breath, every eye glued to the ball. And then it happened. The shot went up, a perfect arc ending in nothing but net. The buzzer sounded. The place erupted. The Celtics bench emptied in an instant, rushing to Jaylen, who had calmly walked back to the half-court line as if he'd just made a routine free throw. His teammates hoisted him on their shoulders, their cheers echoing through the stadium. And in the middle of it all, Coach Thompson walked over, a rare smile gracing his lips. "Looks like I was wrong, kid," he said, extending a hand to help Jaylen off the shoulders of his celebrating teammates. "You've got heart." And with that, their legend was born. The rookie who had come from obscurity to hit the game-winning shot, silencing critics and etching his name in the hearts of the fans. In the following games, Jaylen continued to perform, proving that his initial heroics were no fluke. The Celtics, rejuvenated by his presence, found their winning streak again. The team that had teetered on the edge of collapse was now soaring, their spirits lifted by the quiet genius who had turned into a superstar overnight. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date.